Good day and welcome back to Elementary 72 Gaming. Before I get into this video, I'd like to ask you all to please leave a like or comment on my video and consider subscribing to my channel. Now, this is the Harbinger prototype remastered for taking on T9 and T10 small and medium anomalies. Now, the reason why these are catered just to small and medium is due to the update that happened previously. Now, this video should be coming out on Monday, and the videos coming out after Wednesday may be slightly out of date. So just be careful when watching the remastered series. They were all made in one short script. So let's go through exactly what is needed for the Harbinger prototype. So the Harbinger prototype is one of the battle cruisers that you can get in T7, and it is a laser functioning ship with a massive boost in terms of laser power. Now, it is one of the biggest grids on any ship in terms of power grid, including all of the boost that you can put on it. This ship can have up to a 1600 power grid for usage. So there are multiple reasons why you would go that way. It is also an armor build, so let me just go show you that inside the attributes. This is an armor build ship. As you can see, its armor is way higher than any other of its attributes. So let's go looking at the main weapons that you can fit on this. Now, as a result of this being a laser vessel, the one thing to note is you are going to try and keep yourself at a longer range. So longer range lasers are going to be really helpful. So you're going to go for beam lasers instead of pulse lasers. Now, the reason for this is you need that distance when it comes to combat with these, and I'm going to explain exactly where you're going to sit. In combat with these, for the current meta of the game, sitting in between 30 and 35 kilometers will keep you at the best range. It will allow you to attack anything that's encroaching on you, and your ship is amongst one of the easiest to turn and warp out of encounters due to its inertia bonus that it gets from its roll settings. Now, due to that, they remember it's easy for you to escape, and a lot of the times in combat situations, you're going to be thinking about running things like warp stabilizers to keep you moving in case of being warp disrupted. However, there are many other things that you could do, so just listen up to this format. Remember, these PvE formats don't really count for you to be warp disrupted, and they basically count on you taking out anything that starts to encroach you from about a 27 kilometer mark. Sorry. So here goes on the actual arrangement of your ship. So with 6 of these on your power grid, you are instantly going to be at 840 megawatts consumed. That is out of the 1000 megawatts that come standard. With the engineering added, you have 250 added to that on top of everything, and that will leave you at 360 megawatts to build out the rest of your power grid. Now, with that being said, that is just standard. If you add in the addition of advanced and expert, you have an additional 15 to 20% extra power grid, and this can help you quite a bit when it comes to this vessel. If you have maxed out all of your research, you should be sitting at around 14,500 megawatt power grid. If you increase it with rigs in tier 3, you should be able to reach somewhere near 1,600 megawatts. Sorry about that. I know there was quite a bit of a ramble. But anyway, with all of these equipped, you are still very well under the maximum power grid for your ship. As I said, with the basic engineering, you are almost at 250 megawatts. You also have a very fast recharge time on capacitor, so things like Nosferatu and neutralizers won't affect you as fast as other ships. Okay, so let's get down into your low slot. Now, when it comes to drones, sometimes I will miss it because drones are standard. You just have to equip one of the drones on their ships because they only have one slot for drones. Now, when it comes to this ship in particular, I am going to go straight into armor. Now, the reason for this is we are past the point where anybody who is using the ship shouldn't have command. You should have a max of 5 command in the basic, and you should be learning advanced as well if you have this. So that is something that you must have. Not command, sorry. Engineering. And by learning command, engineering, defense, you are really improving the ship a lot, and you are improving its defense in armor even more than anything else. So let's go down to the mediums and let's start up with the world. So 111 megawatts will disappear from your ship. That will leave you at around 220. Now, one of the beauties of the ship is you could always double up your armor repair to give you that extra durability in a fight. Now, most players who run this here will run the double armor wrap. You won't be running any speed bonuses with the ship to keep you out of range of other vessels. So remember, you are counting on heavy impact to take care of any enemy who grows too close. Right, the next thing is an armor plate. Armor plates are always very useful in terms of giving you that extra minute or two to recharge your armor. So let's have a look at the biggest one here. 176 megawatts to add this to your ship. Now remember, this is the negatives for this. Adding it to your ship will take out a big chunk of your power grid. If you're adding this, you can't add double repairers, because double repairers will take up way too much of your power grid. Remember, you do have way more than just that 360 if you add in enough of research. However, if you don't have enough research, this is a very bad idea. So armor hardening plates are going to be something that's going to fill in for you more than this. So let's move down to armor hardener. If you do have the research and you have that maximum of 400 power grid, with everything added on, if you're going to run with that, you're going to lose 360 of your power grid instantly. Just do a double armor wrap and just one armor plate. But if you are going to skip the armor plate, there is another option available to you. It is one of the weirdest options that I'm going to give, and I hope that you understand it. So let's go to the C-type adaptive armor hardener. 1 megawatt in power consumption and quite a big boost to your armor resistance. Now, by adding this here, you make it really tough for enemies to get through. If you are going to run any other formation, double armor wraps are very necessary to keep you relevant to power requirements in this fight. If you don't have double armor wraps, you're going to take a massive amount of damage and repair at a slow rate and use an armor plate to try and catch up. But as I explained, the armor plate is as expensive as the armor wrap, so running double armor wraps is way easier. Now you could run a cap battery in this formation to keep you a little bit more stable and capable to fight a little bit longer against bigger opponents, or you can do as follows. Now remember, at this stage it's only 3 fittings that are confirmed, and as I said, you could run the risky format of having the armor plate, but that is what I call an extra. The double armor wraps are standard along with the armor hardener. So there are the standards, and the armor plate is an optional extra to this build. Now moving down, you could always add a damage control unit to help you recover some armor in between this combat, but I'm not really going to go towards a damage control unit. A capacitor battery is also an addition that could be added to the shop. It's going to make you really stable and allow you to take on a lot of enemies all at once. But as I said, it is also quite a heavy addition to any ship. Moving down, it is weapon upgrades that are going to be one of your biggest handlers for the ship. Remember, lasers have this massive ability to really pound into other enemies, and using something like a heatsink isn't really that heavy on your power grid. A double heatsink for your last 2 slots on your ship will make you fire way faster for a medium laser. Although these bursts can only happen in 20-second intervals every 60 seconds, they do help you a lot in combat. You can use them one at a time or both at once, all depending on how you want to use them. Remember, doubling them should have a penalty. Yes. So remember that when you are using it, and think about using them at interval where it's one after the other. This will keep you at that perfect range of doing damage, and it will allow you to take care of small ships that try to encroach on you so that you don't get warp disrupted. Remember, keeping it between 30 and 35 is where you want to stay with your distance to any ship, because if they close in that distance, their effects from their weapons or their mid slots will become very disruptive. Now, here is where everything changes. You could run a single heatsink on your ship, and in that last slot, you could run a capacitor battery, armor plate module, or one of the other modules such as an afterburner. I don't suggest using an afterburner or armor plate. They aren't as effective as increasing the firepower. Now, your mid slots on the ship are quite standard. As I said, you only have to go into electronic warfare. You'll run a stasis webifier, a disruptor weapon of some sort, either a tracker or guidance disruptor, and last of all, a target painter. You can double them up if you want to. That's two of any one of these types of electronic warfare devices. And it will definitely not have a massive detriment to your combat style. Now, beyond all of this is the rigging of the ship. Now, in standard format, because of the type of ship that you have, you could have increased the power grid to increase it to the armor plate with the double armor wrap. That will definitely improve your regeneration by quite a bit. But here is something to note that does affect you majorly in battle. You want to try and keep yourself capable of escaping combat as much as possible if it's needed. So one of the things that you could do in that slot is an auxiliary thruster to give you a little bit more speed. Remember, you already have an inertia modifier that allows you to adjust your direction very quickly to escape from battle. So those are all the things that you could run in those slots. Now, when it comes to the rigs, as I said, you could run an auxiliary thruster, or you could run a warp. Sorry, no, not a warp core optimizer, or you could run the capacitor battery, the power grid. Sorry, not the capacitor increased by 20%, the power grid increased by 12.5%, or you can run the capacitor recharge rate increase. Depending on how you set up your low slot, you will need to choose between the recharge time and the power grid increase. The auxiliary thruster can be put into the ship. It's also an additional option to give you that little bit of extra speed so that nothing really hits you too hard. Now, moving on from all of this, there is the next level of slots, and that is your defensive slots. You're going to go straight to armor, you're going to improve your armor wrap, you're going to reduce your capacitor requirement for armor, and you're not going to put on an armor plate. In that last slot, you are going to reduce the need for your lasers capacitor. Now, this is one of the most weird ones that you can put. Now, the reduce of capacitor need for your lasers can be swapped out with EM dampening, explosive dampening, thermal dampening, whichever type of weapon type you are facing off with that is doing a lot of damage to you. You can always dampen it out with those type of defensive rigs. So that is going to be the Harbinger prototype remastered, and I hope that you all enjoyed the video. Thank you all for watching. Have a good day.